And we're back with the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. We apologize on the first try there. I don't know what happened on Ryan's part, but we are back.
Yeah, a little bit technical difficulties getting started, but this computer I work with is an absolute piece of shit. So apologies on this end, but either way, welcome back to the podcast. Glad to be back. We're wrapping up our 4-part series for buys and sells tonight with last, but I guess not least, tight ends.
Yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks for you and me, man. I mean, you guys went to the Phillies game. I had the Riley Green concert that Monday, Luke Combs that Saturday. This week's been hectic for my wife. She just finished up her 3rd semester of nursing school. So even though I know she doesn't watch our podcast, I do want to give Kristen a little bit of a shout out. Congratulations. Nursing school has been rough, obviously. But we are done. We're down semester 3. We're on to semester 4.
So, yay, Kristen.
Yay, Kristen. Yeah, yay, Kristen. But we're back, man. Let's get back to the grind. Tight ends. Here we are. It's a position noteworthy that I'm gonna be honest with you. If you aren't hitting on if you're not drafting Kelsey, Mark Andrews, and a couple of others early, it's a position where you're really diving deep. You know what I mean? You're diving deep.
Right.
I mean, y'all, and let's be honest, you can talk about, Kyle Pitts in year 3. We're going to have a huge breakout here. I mean, first tight end since Mike Ditka to have 1,000 yards in his rookie season. I mean, cool. We're talking about Dallas Goedert. We're talking, we can talk about all these guys. But it's rough. It's a very rough position to navigate, especially if you aren't taking a tight end in the first 4 rounds of either your dynasty or your redraft startups. It's very rough.
Yeah, it's tough. Tight ends in shambles right now. And really, if you don't have Travis Kelsey, you might as well kind of just give it a few rounds.
See, I disagree. I like Mark Andrews. I'm fine with taking Andrews around later. I'm good with that. I've had him my dynasty tight end 1 for, 3 years now? 2 years?
Yeah, it's been a while. That's staying as a Steelers fan, so.
Yeah. Also, the new tight end rankings are going to come out. They're going to mess up the community for a little bit. I can't wait. Hawk over Kyle Pitts, baby. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. We're working on our updated rankings for Dynasty, going through all the positions. Full reset. That's going to be over on rpofootball.com once they're released. Yeah. Shout out to Leo.
Shout out to Leo as well. But yes, it looks good on your part, man. I mean, you really went above and beyond with the color-coded tiers and everything like that. I'm very excited to see how it turns out as well. It looks good, man, from what I've seen. Like I said,
it looks like a bomb pop.
All right, let's jump into it, man. Tight ends. Let's get to it. You want to start with you want to be negative? You want to talk about the negative, or you want to be positive first? What do you want to do here?
I mean, I could piss people off in the first 4 minutes of the podcast if you like. I mean, I'm just saying.
Shoot it. Let's go.
Now, we're starting out with the negatives. You already touched on them, though. But, honestly, if I'm sitting in my team, looking at my team and all this stuff, I'm probably leaning on the side of selling Kyle Pitts. Say what you want. Sure, if you want to go out and buy him, if you're absolutely in a full-blown rebuild, I guess go take a shot on him. But if you're contending, I don't know if I really want Kyle Pitts. The thing is, he's got the talent. Don't get me wrong. He's a freakish athlete, one of the better tight end athletic tight ends we've seen in a long time. That being said, he's in an offense with Arthur Smith, who somehow, some way outbeat the Ravens in rushing attempts last year. We say that, and that was with Ty Algier and Cordell Patterson. Now we add Bijan Robinson, which is just crazy. So I don't see that Arthur Smith shoving the rock down these defenses' throats. I don't see that changing. So that being said, I'm kind of down on Pitts. On top of Bijan there, you have an alpha receiver on the outside and Drake London. I don't know. I just think when he was drafted, people were kind of expecting him to get in those like 1,100, 1,200, like those massive seasons. Can he touch 1,000? Sure. He can touch 1,000 here and there, but I don't expect him to do that every season. I think he sits realistically between like the 850, 950 range. I don't know. I just don't think the target's going to be there. That offense scares me. I hate Arthur Smith. They draft these two great weapons, and then they rush the ball this time. So I don't know. I'm just kind of down on Pitts. I don't want to play the waiting game. And if he bites me, then I'm probably going to get good value out of him anyway. Some people have him as high as tight end 1 in Dynasty. So if you can get that price, I don't really think you end up losing the trade in the long run.
It's rough. Okay, so like, here's where I'm at with it, man. Like when we're talking about Pitts coming out of Florida, I mean, like we're talking about like athletically, like Vernon Davis with more juice. Like that's what I have him pegged as. And Vernon Davis, one of the best athletic tight ends to ever come out of college football. Like, let's be serious. And then on top of that, it comes down to the fact of this. Yes, after the 1,000-yard season, yes, like was he deserving of the tight end 1 spot? Yeah, he was. But now we're going into year 2. You know what I mean? Mariota struggling, never got to play with Ritter, MCL injury, things like that, like, or meniscus, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now we're coming into year 3. You add in the coaching scheme hasn't changed. You add in an elite, like you said, an elite running back in Bijan who's also has an elite receiving profile on top of it. Then you're looking at the fact that in the 4 starts, Desmond Ritter threw the ball 28 times. We're talking about high-powered offenses. That number doesn't do it for me. I mean, and Drake London drew a 29% target share with Kyle Pitts out. They're both elite prospects in their own sort, and I mean, I say it like this. I don't think the running game busts for the Atlanta Falcons. That's Arthur Smith's bread and butter. That's what it is. That's what he's known to do. He's known to produce elite rushing offenses. He did last year. Ty Algier had a 1,000-yard season last year. Now we bring in this generational prospect.
Yeah,
they're going to get theirs. One of these two is going to bust, whether it be Drake or Pitts. It's going to happen. But the thing is like that's not anything negative towards either. They're both elite prospects, offensive prospects. One of them is going to bust. With 28 and a half passing attempts per game last year for Ritter, that's not going to get it done. That's not going to produce elite numbers when it comes to fantasy. It's just not.
Right.
If you're banking on tight ends, I mean, you're looking at tight ends that are historically, getting the elite production. Travis Kelce obviously stands out. Obviously, you're worried about Kelce's age. Obviously, I get it. We're talking about 34 now. Andrews, look at Andrews. He is Lamar Jackson's guy. There's no other way around it. He is the number 1 in the Baltimore Ravens offense, and that was with a run game that they had, and Greg Roman literally leading the league in rushing attempts for 4 straight years, 3.
Yeah.
And then so you bring in Todd Monken. Of course, we're more excited to see Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews and these guys. Of course, we are. Then you look at T.J. Hawkinson. Look at Hawkinson's production when he joined Minnesota. He averaged over 9 targets a game with Minnesota. And then look at the last playoff game. It was like $125 and 2 touchdowns in the playoff game. I told y'all before the playoff game he was going to outproduce JJ in that game. You didn't believe me, but here we are. That's what this does. I mean, I think Pitts deserves to be tight end 4, and that's where we have him ranked. But he's not someone I have a lot of exposure to.
But I guess like my whole point is like if someone values him as that tight end 1 in Dynasty, like why would you why would you not sell? Because even if he ends up being Dynasty tight end 1, like the return you're gonna get is probably gonna be just fine.
I mean,
it's like my whole like.
So I will say this. Last year he was going before the injury and regular season startups. He was literally going back end first, second round in startups.
Yep.
It was not even a question. Now we're looking at him in the fourth round,
True.
late
Third,
third,
fourth,
fourth round.
yeah, back end
Right.
third, early fourth,
Right.
yeah.
So the ADP has fallen on him. Redraft, he's going like sixth round. The ADP has fallen on him in every aspect of fantasy football. So what are you getting for him? What is Kyle Pitts' price point? I have no exposure to Kyle Pitts. I do not own Kyle Pitts.
I don't own him anywhere, so I can't exactly tell you what people. I haven't actively tried to trade for him, and I don't own him, so I can't like sit here and tell you like, okay, you can get this for him type of deal. I don't even think I've seen trades for Kyle Pitts, but he's just one of those guys where like people are either in on him or they're not.
Are you taking a mid first in this 2024 class for Kyle Pitts?
A mid?
Mid first, top 5 pick, 10-team league, top 5 pick. You don't know how the picks are going to play out, but projected mid 5 range.
Depending on my build, I probably would. I mean, if it's tight end premium, I probably wouldn't. But like, if you're sitting in a regular like point per for tight ends, I'd probably move them. I mean, who do you have in that range? You get like Drake May slides. You get Trayvon Henderson, Raheem Sanders, Brock Bowers. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would trade Pitts for another tight end prospect. I mean, I guess maybe, but like, I don't know. I'll probably be targeting like Raheem Sanders or Trayvon Henderson in that.
Yeah, because you're not going to get rid of Kyle Pitts for any of these top 3 picks. Drake May, Marvin Harrison, and Caleb Williams. You're not. Yeah. It's not. So let's go 4 to 6 range. Bowers, Egbuka, Travion, Raheem Sanders.
How can I forget about Egbuka? But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's like it all depends on the bill. Like I said, I can't really take it back. If I'm, like I said before I started my statement, if I'm contending, I'm probably holding. But if I'm like in any chance of winning anything, sure, why not? You can trade for that first and then go find a way to get another tight end.
No, it's fair. I mean, like it's not a negative bash towards Kyle Pitts either. Like, please don't take it as that. Like, that's not what Ryan and I are trying to do here. It's just the situation isn't a selling point for the athletic talent. It's, you know what I mean? That's what this is. And it's not that we don't think, because I think Kyle Pitts can thrive in the NFL. I really do. I certainly do. I mean, it's just right now we're going into year 3. He's a first-round pick. He's going to be on the Atlanta Falcons for at least this year and 2 more years.
Right.
Depending on the franchise tag. It's just what it is. I'm not willing to wait that long.
Yeah, no. That's my thing is I just don't have the patience for it. I don't. Especially I'm trying to win now. Like, I don't have the time to sit here and like, okay, is he going to be the 1,000-yard consistent guy I want, or is he going to kind of struggle in this offense, so he's kind of stuck in cement and like can't really do anything about it. I don't know. Thinking about it, I don't know. I think I'd still, the more I think about it, the more I lean towards Pitts over the middle of the pack. I don't know. It's such a tough call though. That's a great like weighing point for him in that draft because it's so close for me. So on one hand, you're taking the risk. On the other hand, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I sit on Pitts. All I know is if I can sell him for high value, I probably would. Like if I can get him in a deal to like go up and get like a receiver or something like that, then I'm all for it. Like Devontae Smith type shit, or like in that like range of guys.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah. You got first sell?
Yeah, I got my sell. My sell is going to be David Njoku.
Oh, okay, cool. That's my other guys. Crush him real quick.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about Njoku like anywhere from 10 to 13 range, depending on how you feel about him. But I will tell you, with Jacoby Brissett last year, he looked good. I mean, we're talking about like multiple 80-yard receiving games, a couple 70s in there, high target games, lead a solid floor games for tight ends. He had 3 finishes as a top 10 tight end, 2 finishes in the top 20. That's what you're looking for, like for a guy like that when you're drafting outside of the elite range. Then Deshaun Watson comes in week 11, and you know what I mean? He had 2 finishes in the top 10, but everything else was outside the top 25. and that's including 2 touchdowns. He only had 1 touchdown in the first 10 weeks of the year, but he had more consistent tight end finishes. Like I said, it's just one of those things. A lot of people are going to tell you they believe in Deshaun Watson coming back and playing at a higher ceiling in this year. I necessarily don't. But on top of that, we're talking about the additions of Cedric Tillman, talking about the additions of Elijah Moore. You still have DPJ there. You still have Amari Cooper. So where does he fit on this pecking order? We're talking about Nick Chubb possibly getting more receiving work. So where does David Njoku fit on this pecking order? You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, if you can sell him as a top 10 piece, why not?
Yeah. So I'm very much on this side. Who is going to be my less risky sell if I got to another one? I've never liked Njoku. I don't know. I've always thought he's been overhyped. I'm pretty sure I had him on my sell list last year.
Dude, he was absolutely nasty coming out of Miami. He was nasty.
So I don't know. I've never been in on him. I'm not now. Like you said, you kind of touched on all the points I was going to make. And okay, Deshaun Watson came in. He liked Amari Cooper. They bring in Cedric Tillman, who's getting raved at in camps. And, Randy Moss said he's the best prospect he's seen in a long time coming out of college. Now, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But that's what Randy Moss said, all right? Randy Moss said it, okay? I can't go against his word. One of the greatest receivers of all time.
Dude, Elijah Moore looks good. I'm talking about the Elijah Moore hype we had going into year 2. He looks good too. I'm excited.
You have all these guys. You have Amari Cooper. You even Donovan Peoples-Jones. Him and Deshaun Watson kind of want to see each other thrive. They have a pretty good repertoire going between each other. So it's you have these 4 receivers that can come in and take all this work on top of Nick Chubb, maybe getting more receiving work. I don't know about that at the end of the day. But yeah, I don't know. Even those 70, 80-yard games, how many of those games came with him only getting less than 30? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'd be willing to bet that he's more like a boomer bust. If that's your tight end one, I'm kind of panicking.
You said 30 yards, under 30?
Under 30, yeah.
6 games. And one he had 32. Yeah. 6 games under 30 yards.
So that's not what I want anywhere near my starting lineup. I really don't even know if I want that on my bench, to be honest with you. I don't like to play the boomer bust game in fantasy. I've said that in the past, and I'll continue to say it for years and years to come. I don't like the boomer bust guys.
Yeah, that's another guy. That's why I want to transition into this next guy as well. This is a guy who doesn't rely on any volume, no volume, except in the red zone. Seriously, no volume. It's just elite efficiency. I want him nowhere near my rosters, that being Cole Kmet. Straight up.
Fair.
Straight up.
Hey, maybe you can sell him just off the premise they finished tight end 7 last year. People might eat that up, man. Plus, hey, Fields is supposed to blow up, man.
Right. We're talking about 7 games under 5 targets. Under 5 targets.
That's not great.
5.
Plus, you add DJ Moore. So that makes that probably worse.
And, dude, on top of that, I had to go back and look at it because I didn't want to lie to anybody about this situation. We're talking about 9 games under 30 yards, bro.
Yeah.
9 games under 30 yards. Anybody can finish as a top 10 tight end. Anybody. When you score 7 touchdowns, you have a chance to finish as a top 10 tight end. You do. Every year we see it. Somebody outside of the top 17 ADP-wise finishes as a top 10 tight end, if not higher. It happens every year. Go down the list. It was Ingram last year. It was Schultz the year before. We can keep going down. Like I said, it was Tunyon the year before that. Let's just keep going down. It's a long list. But this is a guy I want no exposure to. And like you said, you're talking about one of the lowest passing volume offenses in the NFL. I don't expect that to increase drastically just because of some offensive line additions and DJ Moore. I expect everybody in this offense to have to play at an elite efficiency level to be efficient and to be relevant in fantasy football. And like I said, touchdowns are fluky. There's a shot Cole Kmet doesn't score 7 touchdowns again. There is a shot. There's a shot he scores 10. I don't know. I'm just saying I want no exposure to anybody like this that has to rely on elite efficiency and no volume.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so tough about tight ends. And to your point, like anybody can make it, I think, inside like range like 8 through 12, probably are separated by like not much at all.
Not
Only
at all.
given because the top is so elite that like you get that major separation after what? Goddard? Nah, because you got Freiermuth who's there.
Freiermuth
Yeah,
has seen
Freiermuth.
sees elite efficiency. So
Yeah,
like that's a
yeah.
point that we'll
Freiermuth.
talk about later.
I guess so. I guess we'll get to there, but yeah, man. I don't know, dude. Tight ends are so weird. I really don't want anybody past like 8, but that's the situation that you live in. And like you said, like Cole Kmet, guys like Cole Kmet, David Njoku, these guys are going to kind of like, you kind of have to cross your fingers putting them in your lineup every week. I hate that. If you want to own Cole Kmet and just bet that he's going to get a touchdown this game, maybe.
Never did.
Don't do that to yourself. I would if you can sell him for the tight end 7 he finished last year, go do it.
Yeah. Anybody else you want to talk about on this sell list before we move on to buys?
I got my 2, and I just wanted to rant about Njoku and Pitts. That's all I wanted to touch on. So I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So, fair enough. Great way to piss off the general consensus fantasy community. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
I did it last episode too on wide receivers. No, I'm not. It's okay, dude. I'll take the heat, man.
Hey man, I stood by you. I stood by you. I'm not. I don't know what you're mad about. All right, let's jump into some buys, everybody. Let's jump into some buys. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that you don't take my guy as your buy. I don't think you will. So we'll see. Let me see who you got.
First buy, not a fucking question. Pittsburgh's own Pat Freiermuth.
All right, cool.
Let's have a conversation, buddy.
Cool. I love it.
We're talking about. I mean, you're talking about elite efficiency. You're talking about how you want to own elite efficiency.
Yeah, consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 80 targets year 1. Obviously, played with Ben. Play a little bit more towards the line of scrimmage. 7 touchdowns rookie year. Huge number. Nice number to bet around. Year 2, we're seeing him work way past the line of scrimmage. We're talking about almost 12 yards per catch for a tight end. We're talking about a whole 1.5 yards over the yards per target. 98 targets last year for Pat Freiermuth. Touchdown, negative touchdown regression, 2 touchdowns last year. But I think that has a lot to do with how bad the offense was in general over the first half of the year.
Right.
We're talking about a guy who's consistent, increased target volume, just a solid tight end. He's on the field for all 3 downs. He's just one of those guys. Do I expect, some work for Darnell? Yeah, I do. Yes. But I still don't see any way where Pat Freiermuth doesn't break the 90-plus target barrier in this season. Yeah. He's Kenny's guy. That's Kenny's security blanket. I love Pat Freiermuth. He's actually a pretty relatively cheap tight end. Notice what?
Yeah.
Tight end 7 in my rankings, going probably anywhere from round 8 to round 10 in dynasty startups. Pretty cheap, relatively cheap if you're not going to chase Kelsey, Hawk, Andrews.
Yeah.
How many other tight ends from that range from 4 to 10 are seeing 90-plus targets? Not many. I got a number for you, too.
No more years, baby.
Pat Freiermuth saw 7+ targets in 60% of games last year.
Yeah. See, that's what you want. That's what you want. Yeah. I can see the offense committed to him. Kenny Pickett, obviously, it's his safety blanket. He was comfortable going to him. To the point that maybe last year I've seen him he shouldn't have been throwing the ball. But hey, that being said, at least Kenny looks his way a good amount. And 98 targets is nuts. And this is what I was just getting at. Do you think this season that Kyle Pitts can see those 98 targets that Pat Freiermuth has already gotten to?
No.
These are the conversations that we have to have. Sure, I guess if Pitts catches the ball, they might be a little bit more elite touches compared to Pat Freiermuth. That's fair. But as far as consistency game in, game out, this guy's part of this offense. Pat Freiermuth last year was ready to roll. And like you said, 2 touchdowns, it's got to go up. You won't see another 2-touchdown season.
It will. I hope it goes up. I'm only saying because we do have elite red zone threats on this team. I mean, Najee's used a lot in the red zone. George Pickens obviously going to be used a lot in the red zone. He's a little bit older now, but Allen Robinson, another big body threat that that's on your team that has the ability to do it. Darnell is a huge target as well. But if you want me to bet on Pat Freiermuth over under touchdown totals to be higher than 2, yeah. And I expect this offense to be a whole lot better than in year 2 with Kenny. I mean, like I said, we've pounded this before and we keep doing it. The Steelers made the necessary moves to improve play up front. The skill position guys are always there. We have a solid skill position core. It comes down to upfront offensive line play. Can they protect Kenny? Can the breakdown stay clean? I think we did a great job of improving on the offensive line for year 2. I'm excited to see year 2.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped. I'm all for Pat. Anything else before I get into my first buy?
No. Go ahead, buddy.
Go. All right. So this is actually a guy I've been buying slowly across most of my leagues and most of my redrafts. I'm all in on Dallas Goedert right now. People tend to,
hey, time out.
All right.
Didn't you tell me 3 years ago?
Yeah,
that Dallas Goedert is awful.
3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was not the mind I was today. All right, that was 3 years ago.
All right, go ahead, man.
Anyways, let me do my spiel. All right. Yeah, in the past, 3 years ago, I wasn't the biggest Dallas Goedert fan, mainly because I'm a Giants fan. I despise the Eagles.
So you played fantasy with your heart 3 years ago is what you're telling me.
Yes, a little bit. Now I've thrown that heart, chunked it out the window. Now I only play with my brain, but nonetheless, give me Goddard, man. I'm all for it. Before he went down, up until week 11, he was the tight end 2. Played pretty consistent ball. He actually, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'll call it 90, but he might have out-targeted Devonta Smith when Dallas Goedert was on the field.
He had more targets than Devontae when they were both on together.
Yeah. I'm not 100% on that, but it's probably really close. So he's very involved in this offense. Now, this is before Hawkinson went to the Vikings and he started going crazy. A few things had to happen for him to, get to that too. Am I saying he's going to be the tight end 2 this year? No, probably not. But I think he has a strong chance to hit that 90 target mark you were just talking about. With Pat
I can't remember too because he missed 5 games last year. I can't remember the injury. I want to say knee. I can't remember. Don't quote me, but I'm gonna say he missed a 5-game stretch in the middle of the year that was vastly important. I love Dallas Goedert by all means. You're hitting the nail on the head. With this offense. Especially in the red zone. Red zone belongs to Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. So, I don't expect elite. I don't expect elite touchdown numbers. But if we can get anywhere from 5 to 5 to 7 in a return for a touchdown, the thing about Dallas Goedert is people talk about elite tight ends working in the middle of the seams down the field, high, intermediate routes, things like that. Dallas Goedert fits that mold. We're talking about a guy who's never averaged under 10 yards per catch in his career. We're talking about a guy who works the intermediate parts of the field, huge playmaker, explosive. Yeah, by Dallas Goedert. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm for it.
Especially tight end 6.
I love it.
He's behind Kittle for me. He's behind Kittle for me. But he's the tight end 6 for me, but he's behind Kittle. Once we get past Kittle, he's that range for sure.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is in the 9 games he played before he got hurt. He got hurt in the middle of game 10. I apologize. But yeah, it's in 6 of his 9 games that he played, he got more than 6 targets in 6 of them. That's what I like to see. even in his games that he didn't get those targets, he had one game with 60 yards. So, like, this is the stuff you like to see out of your tight ends. Constantly getting those targets, getting those opportunities to make a play. You kind of bring a good point, and it's like, is he really going to see a lot of red zone targets? Probably not. I mean, Jalen Hurts can just punch that in at the end of the day.
Jalen, yeah, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. I mean, you're talking about the run game that the Eagles have. If I'm not mistaken, Jalen Hurts has back-to-back, 10+ rushing touchdown years.
Yeah,
and I mean that's pretty big when it comes to in that area. But on top, I mean, like I said, you don't need elite touchdown numbers to thrive as a tight end. You're talking about a guy who had heavy uses. I mean, he had 70 targets and he missed 5 games.
right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And plus, you're talking about a tight end that was working at the field, almost 13 yards per catch. Like that's numbers that you want from your tight end. Dallas Goedert's always been that explosive playmaker. He's always been, that intermediate part of the field where he lives, and he's a big time threat to explode. I have no problem with you buying him at tight end 6. No problem.
Well, the thing is like he sits, like you touched on it earlier, like he's still below Kittle on most consensus, and like sure, I probably agree with that too. But like he's the last one outside of that bubble where it's like, okay, these people really don't want a whole lot for a tight end type of deal thing, because those 5 sell, and then like past that, it's like it's not really too difficult to grab Goddard. Jesus Lord, I want it to be Goddard so bad. Every time I say Goddard, it just reminds me of Jimmy Neutron, and it drives me crazy. But yeah, I'm buying him. I've been slowly buying him places, and I'm excited for him this season and going forward. These tight ends, like, sure, he's a little bit older, 28, but like you see these tight ends going into later years just fine.
Yeah, dude, I don't even start to discount any tight end until the 30 mark, if not more. It's pointless. It's a position that where the investment is worth the return, you know what I mean, in that aspect. And plus, elite tight ends aren't just rolling into the NFL, you know what I mean, where production is being shown as an elite tight end. Yeah, they may be an elite prospect, but we haven't seen the elite production to come with that, you know what I mean? Like I said, the tight end position reminds me of like the catchers in fantasy baseball. It's just what it is.
Right.
If you don't have the top 3, you know what I mean, throw darts. That's what it comes down to.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So speaking of throwing darts, I think I have my tight end peg that I have chosen to pick to be drafted outside the top 15 ADP wise to have a top 10 finish, and that's going to be Gerald Everett.
Son of a bitch, dude! What the hell, man? Come on, bro.
Let's just cover it together.
All right. God bless.
Like I said, me and Ryan, we also didn't, talk about this before the podcast came on. But I mean, so Gerald Everett last year, I mean, the most targets he's ever seen in his career, 87 last year. The first thing I want to talk about, I know Quentin Johnston comes in.
Right.
It's a huge addition to play alongside Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Eckler. Cool. I expect this offense to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Insert Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
That's needs more.
The first thing I want to point out about Kellen Moore, he led Dalton Schultz to his top 3 finish 2 years ago. Last year, Dalton Schultz, before injury, was on a top 5 pace as well. We're talking about Gerald Everett finishing tight end 13. And honestly, Gerald Everett is a better athlete than Dalton Schultz. No question.
Agreed.
Dalton Schultz is one of those guys, gets to his spot, sticks it, and that's it. There's nothing to work with.
Right here. Yeah.
We're talking about Gerald Everett, who's a guy that consistently works at a solid mid-level point of the field, has averaged over 10 yards per catch multiple times in his career. He's a very good playmaker. I like Gerald Everett a lot, on top of the fact that this wide receiver room and this offense in general doesn't offer a great mold of health. Obviously, right. I don't project injury, but you have to. That is a part of the game. It's a huge part of the game. You're talking about a savvy veteran who's just been there. Give me Gerald Everett, man.
Yeah, I'm very much in. And I have the same reasons you touched on. It's just like, one, he's in that offense with Justin Herbert. He is going to get targeted. I mean, yeah, sure, they got plenty of weapons, but like he'll get his in this offense. I wouldn't be surprised if they're throwing the rock close to 40 times a game, to be honest with you.
No question.
So I just think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for him to get the ball. He is athletic. Like you said, like he profiles more than like these rest of these guys that are down here. And it's like, what are you really paying for him? You can literally just tack him on the end of a trade. And people will be like, Gerald Everett, yeah, sure, take him.
You're honestly probably getting him for a back end second, early third.
That's what I was going to say. Like, that's my exact range. It's like third. You can probably trade and get him with a third round pick. Like, that's just the market on him. And that being said, with the offense, like, ready to explode. Justin Herbert's got all the talent in the world. He got all the weapons he needs around him. It's just like, okay, you just let him go out there, play the game plan. And I think everybody will get theirs here and there. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Joe Everett's going to, like, rock your socks off week in, week out.
No.
That's not what it's about, but, like...
But consistent.
He'll have his weeks, and he doesn't even have to be your tight end one. He can stay on your bench, and you can play him against good matchups. Or if you need a bye week, it's somebody you can feel confident putting out there.
We're talking about 4 tight end 1 finishes, top 10 finishes, and 9 overall finishes in the top 15. And then I don't even got to talk to you about the playoff game with the Jags. I mean, the dude balled out. Like,
yeah,
I'm not talking about T.J. Hawkinson balling out, but I mean, he played well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a guy where, like you're talking about, he's probably on somebody's waiver wire. No bullshit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's
not
so
a deep
cheap.
dynasty league. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, it happens every year. We can, like I said, I named 4 for you where it happened outside of the ADP to finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you want to keep going, we'll keep going, but this is the guy I have pegged.
Yeah, I'm with it. I think before DeAndre Hopkins, it was probably Chig for me, but after D-Hop came, I was like, okay.
And I have no problem if people tell me it's going to be Higbee. I have no problem. Because I can.
Yeah, I'm a big Higbee guy too. So
yeah, I could see it too for Higbee.
I didn't have notes on him, but I like Higbee.
You insert Kellen Moore into an offense with Justin Herbert, who fits the skill set of Gerald Everett. I'm buying. I'll take Herbert and Everett over Stafford and Higbee.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't mind Higbee. If Higbee's your stash him. By all means.
Yeah.
So is there any other tight end you want to talk about, buddy?
Nope. We kind of had 2 different buys and sells and then ended up with the same second option on both sides. So I guess that makes things easy for us. Got to touch on Higbee for a little bit, where I'm actually a fan of. I own as my tight end too in like almost all my leagues. I think I own him in like 44% of my leagues.
Yeah, like I said, if you want it, he's just the tight end I have outside the top 15 ADP, pegged to finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
And Higbee makes a strong case as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, if that's going to wrap it up here, buddy, you know what I mean? I just want to say I'm glad to see you again because, it's been about a week and a half, man. It's been a lot of talking football.
Dude, life, man. That's all I got to say. Just life, bro. Working too much.
We're still technically – training camp started, so I'm not going to say it's a dead zone because we have all these people reacting to training camp, the overreactions we get. So
it's overreaction season. I can't. I'm ready for preseason. I'm ready for preseason.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I remember I saw one guy overreacting to a fantasy trade where he told him the dude got fleeced, and I've seen some of the trades that this dude's posted, and he's one of the worst traders I've ever seen in Dynasty football. So,
all right, you don't got to call him out on the stream. You got to send me something after this.
I don't care. I'm just telling you straight up. Like,
all right, bet. Let me see him. Let me see him after the stream.
Other than that, man, you want to say your spiel to the people? Tell them
the spiels. The spiels. Well, first of all, thank you everybody for hearing us out on all of our buys and sells. I hope you tuned in for all 4. If not, thanks for tuning into this one alone. Glad to have anybody watching at all, point blank period. Been saying from the start, straight up, if you're supporting us, I love you. I'm so glad that we have some type of flat foundation that allows us to come on here and do our streams and have a good time on them and just do our thing, get all of this stupid, useless knowledge out of our head and give it to somebody else that can use it. And I'm pumped to get on here every week. That's it.
Yeah. I want to say, obviously, again, thank you to RPO football. Leo will be going to the Fantasy Football Expo this week. So
Yo.
representing a lot of different branding, RPO football being one. If you see
Yeah.
Leo, tell him he's doing a great job. He is one of the best in the industry. So shout out to him, shout out to RPO, everybody over there. Yards per again. Thank you guys as well.
Thank you.
You guys are part of the journey. We appreciate you. But one thing I just want to tell you guys, my Dynasty experience has went to a whole new level in the last 2 weeks. Whole new level. I mean, wow.
It's bad, dude. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
This
It's so
C2C,
bad.
this C2C league that Ryan and I are a part of. Ryan does Devi. So this is my first dip into Devi / C2C. Dude, the scouting that has went into these draft picks and the requirements, it is unreal.
Stupid.
And I mean, if you wanna change your outlook and you want to gain some dynasty knowledge, this is the way to go, man. This is the way to go. Absolutely. We have been scouting players into 2027. Like this is I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in 2027. Like
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
It's
Now,
bad.
C2C is we just keep digging ourselves in a hole. We're in round 17 drafting players from freaking UTSA comfortably. It's like, what are we doing? I mean, we're not, but like somebody's out there drafting players from UTSA.
Right. I mean, the last 3 picks we've had have all been running backs in the 2026 class that I love. Like I'm like, yeah, love that guy. Pegged him, my guy. Could see him being a top 5 running back. Yeah, like him. It's fun. I've had a blast with it.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, and actually RPO, SC Romero is the one that started it. So I just want to say thank you to him, man. It's been a hell of an experience. It's been a hell of an experience, man. Actually, I think we got like 3 or 4 people from RPO football to play in that league. It's been fun.
Guest on the show.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. Speaking of that, I think we're going to be on the clock soon.
Yeah. Don't tell me again. I'm about out of people, honestly. But hey, listen, wrap things up. Go see Leo at his booth, man. He's ready for y'all.
The polos he had designed are tough.
He is a great fantasy mind, especially in the IDP side of things. If you're in IDP, you cannot miss him at that booth at the Fantasy Expo. End of story. Go find him, pick his brain. I'm excited for Lee to be there, and I wish I could be there too. But Delaware, baby.
Yeah, we've talked about it. We've talked about possibly going next year. So
yeah.
But everybody, thank you for tuning in. On that note, we are out.